just recently advertised a 58-inch one.
Yeah.
With higher resolution HD, and it's straight away you can it's Google, so you can do everything that's there.
Right.
You know,
wireless,
YouTube,
the whole thing. Yeah.
wireless, everything. Only $600.
Yeah. That's what
Only
it
$600.
But Apple doesn't do that. The only thing they've done in Apple, they still have done it, with the iMac 27, I can still add my own memory. So, because if you buy their memory, so their memory now might be a minimum of, I don't know, 8 megabytes or so, 8 gigabytes. And I upgraded to 32 gig. I went to Crucial and I bought it from Crucial. And it's almost half the price than if I had bought it straight from Apple with the upgrade. But the SSD RAM, it's a once-off order. Because once you've ordered it with that quantity of RAM, you cannot change it because it's hardwired into your motherboard. In other words, it means I can't get like 500 gigabyte, I must get to 4 terabytes if I want. And that is an enormous jump. It's almost $2,000 for that, which is expensive 5 years ago and it's still expensive now. But you would have thought that if you're making it now as a dedicated thing, you would have reduced the cost. And not very
Furthermore, in 2 years you would have recovered most of the, whatever investment, whatever.
And that's how normal technology works.
Yeah.
But not Apple. Apple doesn't do that. If you look at your phones, they increase it, Now, I'll tell you a little thing about the iPhone 11. My friends found out. He's into gold detecting. He was walking on the beach to practice a bit of gold detecting. And this guy came up to him and says, listen, can you see if you can find my ring? I'll have a look. He never found the ring. But he went in and said it was over there. Now, his detector will work underwater to some degree. He went to the water, it was probably about that deep. And he felt something. Okay. Reached down, and when he went down deep, that far under the sand, one of these came up, an iPhone 11. He took it home. He dried it off. He opened it with a SIM card, and the SIM card was dry. He said, wait a minute, if that's dry. Now remember, it's almost under 1 meter of water plus another 300 mil of sand. He put the battery charger on it, cleaned it out first, brought it up. It works. Now that phone, when he got the powered up, shows that it stopped about a month earlier.
A month earlier.
So it's been underwater for a month. And he can't get into it, of course, because the code is being cancelled, so he can't break into the code. But the phone is in perfect good condition. This iPhone 11 has worked beautifully after it's been under sea, under a meter, after it's gone flat.
How much does it cost now? About $1,500?
Yeah, they still keep the same pricing. Every brand new iPhone, it's always around $1,000, right? Okay. But now it can actually be, you can literally drop it into seawater, get it out, dry it off, and it should work as just as good. Unfortunately, he can't break into the code to unlock it. But otherwise, he has a brand new phone. It was a good phone. So they've done good things to it. They charge you still the same pricing. That's what Apple does. They've got the other model, which is the bigger screen, everything, maybe 2,000, I don't know. But the point being is, there are certain aspects that they do to them that actually makes them worthwhile. They actually have under the ocean for 1 month, and it still works afterwards. And he couldn't even get it unlocked to find out who owned it, to say, listen, here's your phone. It still works. Is that pretty good? Any other phone these days, you put it in the water for an hour, it's gone. 5 minutes, it's wet, it's done, soaked in. But he was impressed. It's expensive, but he was impressed.
Do you know why I'm so disciplined at the moment with all the any confidential documents and so on? That years ago I used to travel a bit more frequent than I used to do now.
Yeah.
And of course there's lots of documents, or if you have accounts, right?
Yeah.
You need the user ID and the password.
Yes.
And when you get to a stage that there's so many, you need to be able to in the old days in the very old days, you would just copy it there. Your bank account, okay, this is your whatever user ID and this is your password.
Yes.
And internet banking first started coming up. Then every Tom, Dick and Harry, any company will start to give you a user ID and a password till you have problem at some stage.
Yep.
So what you would do is you would create your personal, what do you call, your personal, your profile or personal file.
Yeah.
You keep all your
Credentials.
things which you consider confidential
Yep.
or things, and then for safety, where do you keep it? You might keep it store it in a USB stick, or you keep it in your computer,
Yeah.
maybe in your email,
Yeah.
or maybe in Facebook, create a certain what do you call it? Only you have the key to open.
That's
that
right, yes.
thing. So I'm much more disciplined these days in whatever new accounts that I open, even with what we call e-tag and all that, user ID and password, I will keep it. So anytime I wanted something, I go in there and see, and then to go in.
Yep.
In the old days, you used to keep hard copies, but nowadays everything is, you carry
Yeah.
the thing. This was like 1 year after, a few years after I came here, and I had to go back to Malaysia. It was to clear up some things.
Yeah.
Okay, so I still had bank accounts there and so on. Okay, you remember the old Nokia phones?
Yes.
The old Nokia phones.
Yep.
Okay, I used to keep this information there in
Yeah.
that Nokia phone, and the other one was, I think, in hard copy.
Okay,
The soft
yeah.
copy was in my Nokia phone.
Yeah.
So there you often went out and have your meals outside in restaurants or hawker stalls or whatever. One day I was having my meal in this food shop,
Yeah.
and suddenly I had a very bad stomachache. So I was rushing to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
Okay, and somehow in the toilet, all right, the phone somehow dropped from the toilet
Oh yeah.
into the toilet bowl.
Yeah.
And guess how
How you felt?
I felt.
Yep. All your records, all
Sure
your.
enough, everything's gone.
Yep.
Sure enough, everything's gone. So I had to, luckily at that time, I managed to get hold of the second copy, which I think was
Handwritten.
the hard
Yeah.
copy. So from then onwards, I made sure that whatever it is, I have it easily accessible to me. I can save it.
Well, that's
either
why-
in a folder,
Yeah.
in emails, or in a.
I've got,
in a
at the moment,
Facebook,
I've got I've got mainly a thing. I've got to do also electronic version. I've got a hard copy with my password, but I should have a hard, soft copy too. But that's why I've always got
So
my
if
disk
you
backing
tell
up.
me something like this,
Yeah.
that
You could drop it in the water and it won't kill it.
I could drop it in the ocean and it will still be there good after 1 month,
Yeah.
and the cost of it is something like 1,008 or whatever.
Yeah.
For someone who's gone through that experience,
You
that
pay.
feeling of despair,
Yeah.
and it's not an issue, it's not a
Exactly.
problem.
That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying, whilst it costs $1,000,
Yeah.
the fact that I can drop it inadvertently in the water or something and pull it out, dry it off, and I know it's still going to work, and all the stuff you have on it.
Because you never know, you
It's-
might be somewhere, you might be having to go to a meeting, talk to a top client
Yep.
near whatever, he's in a hotel near a swimming pool,
Yep.
you've got your stuff in the bag, and suddenly some idiot comes and swipes it, it drops into the pool or whatever.
Yep.
Alright? And at that time, $1,800 for that is nothing compared to the
Information that's on there.
Okay.
And that's what they often say is more often not, it's not the cost of the hardware anymore in computers, it's the information
feature.
the information that's stored on there.
Yeah.
How do you protect that information? Well, on your iPhone, I can say to you now, I can protect it because if I drop it in the water, I've made it waterproof to at least a metre depth of the ocean, plus sand. Right? And that was pretty good for what I understood. And I think he said it's the iPhone 11 that he dug up.
Yeah?
Yeah. Which is the recent model sort of thing.
Not the Samsungs, yeah? The S21.
No, but no, this is an iPhone 11.
But
But do they?
But I heard that one of these newest phones available now,
Yeah.
it's waterproof.
Yes.
It's waterproof.
And
Now
you-
that you mentioned it's the
Yeah.
iPhone 11.
Yeah. And you have to have a look to what depth. That's the other important thing. But that's what I'm saying. That's why with me, I've always got with the iMac. I like the iMac because, or the Apple, because I've got that time machine. It's always backing things up for me. I don't have to think about it.
With your iMac.
Yeah, you know, I told you about time machine to back it all up.
Yeah.
So I've always got it. But what I've got to do now is I've got to buy another hard disk because, like you, I'm still